Hi, this is Michael Winslow from Police Academy 1 through Infinity and Spaceballs with Mel Brooks. And you're watching Insert Here.
Welcome, everybody, to Mark Who 42 here on Subspace Radio. I'm your host, Mark Baumgarten, and we've got a great show for you today. We're going to go through our opinions on the movie Superman that came out a few months ago and will be on streaming any time now. With me are my co-hosts.
Vicky Jakubowski.
Hey, Vicky.
Hi.
I love when you do that. What's been going on in your life?
We're back down to normal levels of insanity, and I will be taking my first vacation in 6 months.
All right. Where are you going?
Well, where else would we be going? I'm going to Disneyland to cheer on some friends who are doing the marathon.
Oh, very nice. Very nice.
So I'm very excited about that one.
Okay. We also have
Juan in Orlando.
Hey, Juan. How's it going?
The usual. Been back for 2 weeks from Seattle, but trying to catch up on a few things, trying to do a few writing projects.
And that's an important question to ask you. How was WorldCon?
Oh, WorldCon was very good. I mean, I had a good time. I got some interesting things. I got to work on a report for the job that I did there as head of press office. But no, there were a couple of things that went bumpy, like at the Hugo ceremonies, but everything else I think went pretty well. Good venue. I mean, I think overall it went well.
Good. That's great. All right. Like I said, we are going to discuss Superman, which came out, was it July? Came out in July, with David Corenswet as Clark Kent and Rachel Brosnahan as Lois Lane. Nicholas Hoult as Lex Luthor as well. But we're going to go through the synopsis. This is if you haven't seen the movie. Danger. This show may not be for you. We are going to be going through the plot points and all that stuff. We're going to give our take on Superman. I don't want to say Superman in the movie or Superman in the motion picture. You might get confused. Superman 2025. Vicky, take it away.
Hello. Okay. So we're going to dive right back into it. And yes, definitely spoilers. No question. Be prepared. So we learn pretty much from the first moments that this will not be the typical Superman origin story. Gunn has decided to not essentially replicate what Donner already did in the 70s so well. Instead, he starts with, and he does mention that he was inspired by Star Wars and George Lucas to do the words first. And no, they're not a crawl like Star Wars, but, you know, it starts with 3 centuries ago, metahumans arrived on Earth or came to Earth, and then, 30 years ago, an alien sent their only child in. 3 years ago, he introduced himself to the world of Superman. And 3 minutes ago, or 3 hours ago, I'm missing one. Okay. 3 days ago, he stopped a war. 3 hours ago, he fought the Hammer. And 3 minutes ago, he lost his first fight. Okay. Something like that.
What I liked about the opening is they used the term gods and monsters.
Yes.
And we're not going to call it phase 1 because that's Marvel. The first bunch of stuff is called Gods and Monsters. Commando Creatures is already out. Is already part of that.
Creature Commandos.
Creature Commandos. I've only seen the first part of episode 1 of that. I need to finish it. It
I know.
good.
I just started it myself, and I'm already loving it. So I've got to watch the rest of it.
Yeah.
So,
right.
And so there we see him in the Arctic. Well, okay. Superman crashes to the Arctic.
Yes.
Actually, to be fair, I think I think they changed it to the Antarctic, but I could be. I think.
I was confused by that.
Well,
and
if we go by the John Byrne reboot and the Triangle years, yes, it would be in Antarctica. But I don't know, because they mixed up a lot of different eras of Superman in there. So I'm not sure which one it was in.
I think that James Gunn did say something along the lines of it being Antarctica.
Okay, so they're going with, okay.
They're going with the Antarctica one. And he's sitting there bleeding and he whistles. And I was like,
ultrasonic
no.
whistle. It's got to be an ultrasonic whistle.
I specifically tried really hard to avoid anything and everything before I saw this movie because I wanted to truly go in blind. Now, I'm a huge fan of Superman. I've seen just about every version of Superman there is, including some animated versions. So he whistles, and who comes but Krypto? And if you are not familiar about Krypto, the super dog, it is a nice touch and a nice little humorous bit because, of course, being a good puppy, what does he want to do? He wants to jump all over and play with Superman.
With Daddy.
He's not really feeling it. He may have a few broken bones and stuff. And but he finally convinces Krypto to take him to the Fortress of Solitude, and it raises up, unlike what we saw in the Donner film, where it is a semi-permanent crystalline structure that is opened up by throwing a crystal. This one, we later learn, is through Superman's DNA. It'll open the doors. Nice little door lock. Unless, dun, dun, dun. But so he gets in there and we're introduced to the Superman robots. Is there an actual name for it, Mark?
Superman robots? Well, I mean, there was Kellex back in the day, was it? But, what's interesting about the robots are the people doing the voices of the robots.
Yes. But we'll get into that in a minute.
We'll get to that. But yeah,
yes.
So they're basically Kellex robots from the 80s and 90s.
Yes.
Kind of like a DC version of Herbie, in a way. In a way. And John Byrne did both. And John Byrne did both. Yeah.
That there is newer versions or newer series of the Supermans that actually have these similar robots in them.
Yeah.
And so that was the inspiration, in addition to some of the other robots that have existed in and out of the Superman universe.
Disney. Ooh.
I know. I'm sorry. Shoot me now. Anyway, so what we learn, since we're trying to do the shorter version of the synopsis, because there's a lot packed into this movie.
There's a lot, and we still have a long way to go.
I know. Okay, so we find out that he's being tracked. Turns out the person behind all of this is Lex Luthor, and he is sending the engineer, who is literally an engineered human that is partially human and partially nanobots, and she can create just about anything out of her body that she wants to and use it to help her with fighting and moving and flying and whatever.
I have a question about the engineer. Is this a character from the comics? Because I don't remember. I've been away from Superman for a long time. I've just come back in the last couple months, but
I think they're from the Authority.
Okay. Yeah.
I think you're right.
I think you're right.
There was a version of this character was in the comics, maybe not exactly the way we have it in the movie, but it is inspired by a character in the comics.
From the Authority, I think one is right. Yes.
So the robots restore Superman by giving a super blast of the yellow sun. And he is listening to a message that he has. It's just the first half from his mom and dad as they were sending him off to Earth and why they were sending him to Earth. And, and I have to mention the fact that it is really funny the way, because it's 2025, but it's funny the way that we get a lot of golly gees and similar. It reminds me of the George Reeve and Christopher Reeve days as Supermans.
Yeah.
Because it may have its dark moments in this film, but Superman is Superman, golly gee, didn't you know? And it's so cool. So he comes back to fight what's being called as the Hammer of Boravia, which is a fictitious country, although I believe it is in the DC world of comic books. And of course, the hammer is not really the hammer, it's really Ultraman, which we'll get into a little bit later, who is controlled by Luthor, again, I don't know if we want to call it metahumans because he doesn't like metahumans, but it's a man-made created metahuman. I don't know, something like that. Anyway, so we find out that Superman and Lois Lane are dating. Lois Lane already knows he's Clark Kent, and she is a definite 2025 reporter. She asks the hard questions because when he interviews himself, he avoids all the hard questions. They do a phony interview and she gives it to him and kind of brings him to reality. So then Luthor releases a kaiju, which looks like a cute little pudgy thing, but in the next scene, he's grown up overnight.
I thought it was Stitch. I swear, I thought I did. I go to Randy. Is that Stitch?
No, it wasn't cute enough, and it was the wrong shade.
Yeah, all right. Can I say something before we move on?
Yes.
The movie was 2 hours long. We're 10 minutes into this, and we have not finished the synopsis. This is a long. Okay, it's a very packed movie. It's a very packed movie, and that's part of the charm.
We learn about the Justice Gang, not the Justice League of America.
It will be. It will be next movie.
It will eventually. Because Green Lantern, and not the Green Lantern you think,
Guy Gardner
and Hawkgirl are all there, and we'll go into Green Lantern a little bit later. So basically they kill the kaiju, and Superman's like, "Oh, you didn't have to kill it. We could have studied it." And then Luthor, who has, of course, broken into the Fortress of Solitude and downloaded the parents' message, then decrypts the rest, and we'll talk in detail about it. And not only is it the original message that Superman's been listening to this whole time, telling him to be of service to the people of Earth, it ends with, oh, and by the way, have lots of wives, make a harem, share your kryptonite, your Kryptonian DNA,
take over the world,
and enslave the human race.
Yeah, pretty much.
But we will discuss that one.
We need to in the second half of the show. We need to discuss this. Yes. Definitely.
Okay, so public opinion turns against Superman. He, of course, is confused. Luthor kidnaps him, sends him to a pocket universe, which, of course,
no, wait. Oh. Luthor did not kidnap him. He surrendered himself.
Oh, that's
because
true.
He did. He surrendered himself.
He captured Crypto, and the only reason he surrendered himself to the authorities is to find Crypto.
Yes, because Superman's being Superman is always trying to do the right thing.
Exactly, because he is the overgrown Boy Scout. Yeah.
40 lashes with a wet noodle for me. Okay, so and in this pocket universe, Superman is put into a cell with Metamorpho, who is a creature or metahuman who can turn himself into any substance. He turns his arm into kryptonite, which of course is killing Superman, and he's sit there to hold him, and we find out that in the cell directly across from them is his son Joseph, who he's being threatened with if he doesn't do this. So eventually Superman reminds Metamorpho why he should care, and they break out of it. There's a huge big fight, lots of things happen. Mr. Terrific gets involved. He takes Lois Lane. The pocket universe is collapsing, or the entrance is collapsing, and bam, bing-a-boo. Okay, they all get out. Metamorpho has a son. They run off, and Lois takes Superman to Kansas to recuperate with John and Martha Kent, and he has a heart-to-heart talk with his dad and reminds him what's important. And then it turns out that Luthor's girlfriend, Miss
Tessmacher, which the fact that Otis and Miss Tessmacher were in this Oh,
Yes.
Well, there's
she
a lot of
actually-
there's a lot of there's a lot of
Easter eggs.
There's a lot of callbacks to the Donner film.
Yes.
Yes.
And there
Doug
should be the
absolutely
music.
pays so much homage to the Donner film, and I really appreciated it, and I think he did it very well. But Eve, it has the hots for Jimmy Olsen, which apparently there's this whole sub story about how everyone has the hots for Jimmy Olsen, but okay, yeah, whatever. So she kind of spills the beans to Jimmy. They look at her pictures. There's a selfie of her in front of all of the plans for Lex Luthor. I mean, really, she's sitting there with a camera. What the hell did he think she was doing? And so they use that to help plot how they're going to fight. Then we discover that Ultraman is actually a clone of Superman.
An imperfect clone.
Which makes me think that they just should have called him Bizarro and got it done with.
Well, no,
You
he
know,
didn't
It's
look
an
like
imperfect clone. That's what
too.
Bizarro is, an imperfect clone of Superman.
Well,
Exactly what Bizarro is.
It could
But
be
so
a
is
layup
Ultraman.
when they do. No, Ultraman is a parallel Superman from Earth 3, the
Oh.
leader of the criminal Earth
But that's not what
syndicate.
they said. I know
Right,
that.
right.
I know that, but that's not what they said.
But I think
In the
how they
comics, you're right.
dispose of Ultraman could lead that he could come back as Bizarro. And in fact establish Bizarro World.
Or
Yes.
or he could come from Earth 3, the real one, and come here, because I know James Gunn is making I don't want to say multiverse, but yeah, a multiverse.
Well, no. James Gunn, and just a quick segue. I just saw something on YouTube. I mean, right now what's on the boards is apparently the Supergirl thing, Lanterns, Clayface, and maybe, and I think Batman is also on the boards, but that's about it. I think they showed what was on the boards, what is in the works right now. So I think we're almost back to the synopsis.
Yeah.
Yes. So to make a very long story short, and it's a good long story, but to make a very long story shorter, basically they're able to show the universe that Lex Luthor is the one who started the war. He's trying to get his own country. There's all these other things going on. Luthor is not the beacon of peace, love, and happiness that he's trying to present to everybody. And Superman's able to throw Ultraman into a black hole and still get away. Mr. Terrific closes the rifts. And so Superman again is the hero of the universe, and all is again right with the world for the moment. Now, and then of course we have the tag scenes where we learn that Supergirl is actually the owner of Crypto. He did make a comment earlier about it being a foster situation, and she apparently is the party girl of the universe. And we're going to see more of him later. And when the movie ends, when the robots are comforting Superman, instead of it being the playback of the original story, of the original words of Superman's parents from Krypton, it's actually pictures and events and movies from his childhood in Kansas. So we see this switch of what's really important to him, and it's his humanity. It always comes back to Superman, maybe an alien, but he has massive humanity. Okay.
Okay. And now, if you've been listening to the show and you haven't seen a movie, you don't need. No, you still need to. I mean,
I didn't even talk about
15 minutes of an hour of a 2-hour movie. But
Hey,
you know what? That's cool. That's cool.
At the time of recording, let me give you some stats.
Okay.
The film is still playing in theaters after 8 weeks. It is number 8 according to Box Office Mojo on Sunday, August 31st.
Yep.
It is gross worldwide 350 million. Excuse me.
That's all. I thought
million.
it was more. Okay. That's a lot.
So it's still an ongoing concern, and even though it's probably going to appear on streaming soon.
Yeah, HBO Max, I would think soon, or than later. Yeah.
And I want to say one thing. If you want to know what Supergirl will be up to, apparently they're going to try to adapt Supergirl, Woman of Tomorrow, which was a comic series which you can get at the library or finer bookstores, where Supergirl is helping a woman avenge her parents' death, or maybe avoid a woman avenging her father's death.
Ah.
And it's a recent book. It's not that
Yeah, it
long
came out
ago.
in 2021, 2022.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that is really recent.
But, you know, I got to say something. In terms of comic books and favorites, my favorite comic, my favorite superhero ever was Superman. It was Superman since John Byrne revamped him. I mean, beforehand, yeah, it was cool, whatever. But getting into that story and reading everything from 1986 to like 2000, and I collected, and that was my Superman. And then they did some changes, and then New 52 came, and oh my God, this kid is super. I didn't like that at all, the adaptation. But then they brought the married couple back. They brought the close enough to the Triangle Year, Superman and Lois Lane, Clark Kent and Lois Lane. And then I stopped reading it for a while, and I came back to it a few months ago because of the movie. And you know, Crypto, which wasn't in the Superboy, which wasn't they've changed everything back, but still keeping how do I explain this? They've taken the best parts of the Superman era throughout the many years.
I think so.
And not only did it to this movie, but to the comic book. I actually am enjoying the comic book. And like the first issue, I'm like, oh, Crypto, how are they doing? This is so unbelievable. And well, it's a comic. Unbelievable. Just step away, Mark. Look at it
funny?
again.
My first introduction to Superman was George Reeves. My mother
Yeah.
was a huge fan of Buster Crabbe as Flash Gordon and George Reeves as Superman, and I used to watch the reruns as a kid. And then I discovered the comics, and I read them sporadically. And then when the Donner film came out, what was it, 78?
78.
I was hooked.
Oh, yeah.
I love the character because we all feel like a misfit sometimes. And we all feel like we are hiding parts of ourselves. And, and we can talk about this in the second half, although briefly, Superman was created at the height of World War II by two
well, no, before World War II.
Before
1938.
38.
38.
Oh,
after
you're right. Sorry.
the recession,
Before
everything.
World War II for the U.S.
Yeah. Oh, and you win the contest on that one. You are correct, actually.
Well, no,
yeah,
it was
Hitler came into Austria, and I stand back.
Hitler
As
we
went
were not
in
at
38, and
Not
he invaded
us.
Poland September 1st of 1939.
Right. We're not saying we're at war, but it was
We
war
were
was
not
going
at war,
on. Juan.
but much of the rest of the world
Yes.
was.
I would consider it still a world
1939,
war
the rest
before
of
we
the
got
world
it.
was already at war. We hung out.
We did.
But it was and having read the history of it, and the creators were two Jewish artists who understood what it meant to be hiding out in the open.
Yeah, Joe Shuster and Jerry Siegel.
Thank
were
you.
the creators of, and they had actually created the character before that. They wanted to put it in a newspaper strip, but then it didn't get picked up, and then DC, and they had to change things. Okay, I'm gonna pause here, guys. We do have to take a break. Here on Subspace Radio, I'm Mark Baumgarten. We got Vicky Jakubowski and Juan Sanmiguel. We are talking about Superman, which came out in July, and we're talking about it now in September, but it's coming to streaming really quick soon. And I just want to say, this movie and Fantastic Four were great movies. And I did say in the last episode that I enjoyed Fantastic Four because they were my favorite superheroes. They're my favorite Marvel superheroes. My favorite superhero overall ever has been Superman. We're going to take a break here on Subspace Radio, and Mark 42 will return right after this.
Don't go away. Don't go away. We'll be back with more Mark 42 after this.
The Pullbag is GCRN's comic book review and discussion-based podcast. Join me, TFG and Mike, and the rest of the GCRN crew as we discuss the comics we are reading right now. Inside The Pullbag, you'll also find the origins of how guests got into or out of reading comics, after dark discussions, and so much more. You can find The Pullbag every Wednesday, which is New Comic Book Day, only on geekcastradio.com and on anywhere you consume your podcasts. Make your great escape into comics and jump into the Pullbag today.
Get ready for the ultimate geek experience right here in the Sunshine State. Florida Geek Scene presents a full calendar of events and conventions. From anime to horror, we've got it all. Meet your favorite stars, find rare collectibles, and immerse yourself in your passions. Experience the thrill of cosplay and witness amazing live performances. Stay up to date with the latest news and reviews all across Florida. Florida Geek Scene, where pop culture happens. Visit us online for more. Don't miss out on the fun. Join us at Florida Geek Scene. FloridaGeekScene.com.
You are listening to Mark 42's Universe.
And we're back with more of Mark 42 here on Subspace Radio and all across the interweb thingy, including Florida Geek Scene, Geekcast Radio, Audible, Pandora, Google Play, iTunes, everywhere around the way. So if you're listening to us on the radio and you want to hear it again, go to the podcast. We're out there. And Mark42.com. So we are talking about Superman.
Yes.
How do I say? We're talking about Superman, or I want to say the movie,
Superman,
but
because
just
Superman
say
the movie is the
right.
genre film.
Well,
It's
right.
clear.
But what I'm saying is this is Superman a movie?
A James Gunn production.
A James Gunn production. Superman, a James Gunn production. There we go. That's what we'll call it.
We have
Vicky
a smart audience. They'll know what we're talking about.
We
Yes,
do have a
they
smart audience. We're going to
absolutely will.
pander to you guys right now. You are the
Oh,
smartest
stop
audience
it,
in the
Mark.
world.
But listen, can I
Hey.
start with my big beef
Yes,
of the movie?
please.
Yeah,
and we can
please do. Please do.
I know why he did it, and he's been defending it on the air. I just really don't buy that the recording was not doctored. I know that Mr. Terrific
Thank you.
assures people, and there are a lot of people. I remember I told you guys I follow a very nice lady named Sasha who does Casually Comics, and when they talked about the film on one of her live broadcasts, a lot of people were like me. And I know that Terrific tries to assure that, hey, this is legit. Now, the only thing that I can say that defends the claim that it is not legit is the fact that he knows Supergirl. If Krypton was nutty colonialists and wanted to take over the Earth, he would have found out from her, and so he wouldn't have been surprised by it. Obviously, they have an established relationship before that. Now, I know why Gunn did it, because he needed it to, obviously have the populace turn against Superman and also push Superman into surrendering himself to the authorities and do all the stuff with Luthor, which we forgot one thing. The most vicious thing I think Luthor has ever done on screen was just shoot a guy with Russian
Yes.
roulette just to get his information out on,
Yes.
try to get more information out of Superman
This
when
is truly
he's in prison.
one of the most
Yeah.
evil versions
And-
of Lex Luthor.
And I got to tell you something. I felt like I couldn't eat a falafel after that. Wasn't the one he shot Malik Ali? He was the
Yes.
vendor. Yeah.
Yes.
That proves this Lex Luthor is as ruthless as the most
Yes.
dangerous villain in the DC universe. I don't even think Darkseid would have.
So one, I've heard a million theories. Everyone's coming up with theories on what it is. The one that I kind of like the best is mistranslation. In other languages, a word can mean multiple things. And so where they're taking it, it's kind of like, in various language, the word that we would translate it to brother, but they mean all kin, so there's all these different nuances to language. And there have been some hilarious things in the history of mankind due to misinterpretation of words. So perhaps the words that they said in Kryptonian is correct, but the way they interpreted the words were completely wrong. And so it wasn't that it was doctored. It's kind of like the King James version of the Bible. It was written in such a way that King James influenced which word choices they were going to use so he could do what he wanted to do. It had nothing to do with accurate translations. It had to do with what someone wanted it to say.
Here's the funny thing. Watching the movie, enjoying the movie, I actually, without even thinking, bought into it. I was like, oh, well, so they changed it.
No. Oh,
I'll be honest.
Zion actually questioned this on me. Says, Mark, how did you feel about it? Because he knew I was a big Superman fan. I'm like, they've made so many changes over the years. What's one more change? But you're right.
I can't thinking about
it now, thinking about it after.
Could be that.
Yeah.
I have a hard time accepting that.
I'm just saying, while I was watching the movie, I bought into it.
I'll be honest.
I had no questions.
I have never liked that. They kind of did this on Smallville too. I kind of don't like a kind of negative look at Krypton, because I always feel that the whole thing about Krypton is they were a super society. Obviously, they were weak in some place because in some versions there was an insurrection that almost took place by one of their leading generals. So it wasn't a perfect world, but it had a lot of good things in it, and unfortunately it ran out of time and could not save itself. And I've always liked that portrayal. I mean, you can make it not perfect. I mean, John Byrne, when he did The World of Krypton, did that, although he decided to make Krypton a very sterile society.
Yes. Yeah.
And then which was a little bit in the Donner film. And then, of course, I always like how Kevin Smith pointed out in the Snyderverse Krypton, they all wore giant hats, and they were going to put their hats back on for their trials. We're going to put on our big hats, but.
Yeah, that's it. Uh-huh. Thank you, Wanda, because that is my only true complaint about the movie is I don't accept that either.
Okay.
But anyway, let's talk about the good things about the movies. Mr. Terrific. I think that's a good idea. And actually, Mr. Terrific is a part of a bigger idea, and I'll try to get this across. We're in an established universe. We're not, or partially established universe. We're at the early beginnings of a DC universe, and I think if we obviously the plan is that the culmination will be another Justice League film.
Yeah, we're actually
not a Snyder dark Justice League film.
I'm waiting for the Bwahaha with Maxwell Lord taking, because it was the pre-evil Maxwell Lord who did create the Justice League back in the 80s. And what I love, we have Nathan Fillion playing Guy Gardner, right?
Yes.
We need Batman. I need that scene. I need the scene where Batman does one punch, Guy Gardner's knocked out, and he's mentally messed up and becomes good, like a nice guy.
And another thing about the Justice
gang.
Well, I'm not going to call them that because that is not their name.
Hawkgirl will agree with you. Hawkgirl will agree with you.
And so does Mr. Terrific. Anyway, but if you notice, their headquarters is the actual Cincinnati train station, which was the inspiration for Hanna-Barbera to do it. And also, there is a giant mural. Now, again, if you follow my friend Sasha on Casually Comic, she actually goes through that mural and tells you who all the characters are. And they were actual characters in the DC canon around World War II, pre-World War II, medieval times. So you can find out who's who in that. So just look up Casually Comics on YouTube. But it was great seeing, the headquarters and see where they're going and seeing multiple heroes. I always kind of didn't like that. In growing up on the Super Friends first, it was always kind of weird seeing the heroes in other productions kind of isolated amongst themselves. So I think that was a good thing. Let's have a partially established universe and not where we want it.
I like that. So we have to talk a little bit about the casting. We already touched on the fact that we have the I don't know how I would say. Most people were not expecting the Green Lantern we got. Mark, why don't you talk about that for a moment?
Because Guy Gardner.
2-second version.
No, Guy Gardner is the jock who was originally supposed to get the Green Lantern ring, but in retconning, Guy Gardner got it first. He was always jealous. He gets it, and he started out as a kind of all right guy, and then when he got to the point he was Green Lantern, he was a snarky, chauvinistic, all this stuff wrapped in one, which is what Nathan Fillion is playing right now.
Yes.
He is not always that way.
The worst
In fact,
haircut in the world.
Worst haircut.
But it is appropriate to the comics.
When Batman knocked him out, he turned into an over goody kind of guy. But generally, Guy Gardner has been all right. He's been a strong Green Lantern. He's been a powerful, and he's now going to be part of Lanterns, which I thought this leads into it very well. I can't wait to see that show. But so Guy Gardner is the third human Green Lanterns. It was Hal Jordan, it was John Stewart, then it was Guy Gardner, then Kyle Rayner, and then now there are a bunch of others. And yeah, I know too much.
But that's okay. So we have, we've got Mr. Terrific. We have Hawk Girl, who is definitely, I enjoyed this version of Hawk Girl very much because she's snarky yet lazy, but powerful yet, what the hell am I doing with these guys? Very well done. I will say all the actors, superior cast.
Yes,
they did an extremely good job with casting.
I brought up
Clark Kent. I loved him.
You know what? You know what Randy said? I'm saying this so she can't hear me. No, Randy thought this was the sexiest Clark Kent.
I do put him after Christopher for that one.
Well, okay. I mean, she did. I don't. To be honest.
Oh, yeah. Before we forget, if you haven't seen the film yet or didn't notice it and want to catch it on streaming, one of the newscasters is actually played by Chris's son.
Yes.
Yes.
I mean, and when you're aware of it,
he's a journalist in real life.
Okay, I didn't know that. I mean, I heard about that and I paid attention. And I've seen it twice, once by myself and once with friends who don't do social media or not as much as I do.
Yeah. Will is actually an ABC journalist, and he's on Good Morning America and some other shows. And of course, I'd heard that
Gunn.
During the filming of this movie, so Will and his siblings had created a documentary that I highly recommend. It won the BAFTA. It's on HBO Max now, and it is about Christopher Reeve being Superman, surviving his accident and what happened. It's extremely moving and great. And I hear that before it was released to the universe, they actually screened it for the entire cast and crew. So, it was one of the nice things. I also understand that like Joel's grandson is in a scene, like one of the background reporters.
What about Maxwell Lord, played by Sean Gunn?
Well, the brother Guns always have to work together.
He has to be in it. And speaking of people who always have to be in it, you've got the robots. You've got Alan Tudyk, Michael Rooker, and Palm Clementif. Played 4, 1, and 5 in that order. And I like the fact that 4 became Gary. That's a good name. Just like bow ties are cool, Gary is a cool name for a robot. Yeah.
Oh, and we forgot that Bradley Cooper is Jor-El, Superman's. And it was really funny because when they were playing, it was like, God, that looks a lot like Bradley Cooper.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, that is Bradley Cooper.
Yeah, I was pointed out to me. I'm like, really? And I thought, you left out another Gunn relative. How about Jennifer Holland? His wife was an uncredited voice of one of the robots at the end of the film.
Yes, who you can see her on Peacemaker, who also did a cameo in this.
John Cena,
and the
definitely.
Second season of Peacemaker was released on HBO.
I have a question. Why did Michael Ian Black, who was in it, who played Clevis Thornthwaite, the right wing, why did they just make that Ryder and made it the Creeper, Jack Ryder?
I didn't even know he had a name. I thought he was G. Gordon Godfrey for one of Apocalypse's, one of Darkseid's minions.
Well, I went through the credits and it went as Clevis Thornthwaite. And again, it must be a comic character. But I remember when Jack Ryder, the Creeper, was pretty much a right-wing news guy back in the
He wasn't a
90s.
right wing. I don't think he was.
He was very anti. He was
extremist.
weird. He was an extremist. It definitely back in the 90s. It could have been the character from Legends back then when all the superheroes were being branded as bad and told to get off the earth and things. That was a good miniseries back then. I enjoyed that one. I got to tell you, I hated Millennium. Don't ever go back and read Millennium, but Legends was a good one.
Okay, so now I want to hear your overall impressions of the movie. Juan, how did you feel about this movie when you walked out of it?
Oh no, this is an excellent film. I mean, with the exception of the reservation. I mean, some people it's hard to write for Superman because you say, well, what can you make objective? But you can do moral quandaries, and also he's not. You can also play around with how invulnerable he is, which is something John Byrne and Julius Schwartz, when he was the editor in the 70s, played around. You know, they played around with how invulnerable he is, how much he could take, and play around with. But I think it was a good Superman story. I mean, he has some moral decisions, and he declares this. I mean, the big climax is when he confronts Luthor and says, "Hey, I'm just as human as you are. I'm dealing with stuff day to day, you know." And this is the first time actually somebody noticed, and I'll end with this thought and let you guys say, this is the first time in the film we actually had a Luthor who really despised Superman, because Gene Hackman, great actor, but the only thing is Superman's an obstacle for his land deal, which they actually pay tribute to here because he gets Luthoria as a part of the end of the war. But we actually have a guy who really hates it, and it's the modern thing that he's xenophobic and hates the fact that he's no longer the top dog on Earth anymore.
Wow, that sounds just like the John Byrne era. Sounds just like it. Except he didn't ask Superman to work for him as a personal bodyguard, and again get thrown in jail for that. You know, maybe that happened. We didn't get the origins. Could have happened. Could be a backstory.
No, but you know the way he talks, the way Luthor talks about his hatred, it just you get the narcissism, you get the why do they all like him and not like me? I'm so much better than him. I'm smarter, blah blah blah. You know, the fact that he creates a program with all of Superman's fighting techniques, and he's able to sit there and control Ultraman and say, do this move, do this move, do this move. I mean, it just to be that obsessed with somebody else and have that much dislike. Again, the man could have cured cancer if he had taken all of that hatred and turned it into good. So, but it was kind of nice to have a, for lack of a better word, pure evil Luthor. Because like Gene Hackman, I love that version of Luthor. It's funny, it's great. He's bad, but he's not horrible. But sometimes there are really,
he's gonna sink all of California.
Well,
it was a land deal.
Hey, my house didn't have beachfront property, so you know.
Jakubowski-Berg.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly. But I mean, the fact that this Luthor is so unmitigatedly evil and angry, and it's something that we can, believe it or not, understand, because we see people like that. We know people like that. And we've unfortunately had a history full of people like that. And that way you can also get behind just hating him back and moving forward. But Mark, what were your feelings about?
Any movie that has Steve Lombard in it gets a thumb up. Yeah, thumbs up. You bring that character. No, I told you, Superman, my favorite superhero. This movie works so well. I told you I even had that lapse of, I'll get away with the part that you guys don't like. But no, I because watching it and watching Fantastic Four this summer was like a dream come true because it was my favorite things. I had not watched any of the previous Fantastic Four films. I think I said that except for the Roger Corman one. And I did not like the Zack Snyder Superman in any way, shape, or form. Brandon Routh, I thought, okay, he's doing Christopher Reeve, but on his own take. So I was not a problem with Superman Returns. But from after Superman Returns all the way till now, I have not had a movie Superman. I did have on television Lois and Superman, the show, Superman and Lois. he was all right. He was all right, but not as all right as my good man, and I must say, you're good man too, David Cornsweet, who it's actually interesting. And then we said that Joe Shuster and Jerry Siegel created them, and they were two Jewish immigrants from Canada. David Cornsweet is Jewish. This is our first Jewish Superman.
First Jewish Superman ever in live action or animated, I believe.
Yeah. And it's weird because, a lot of people go, oh, Superman, I don't want to use the W word, but they had problems with this, but okay, you know what? You have a problem with it? Don't watch my movie. Really. But he's always been about hope. And back in the 30s, he was a socialist back in the 30s. You had apartments, people in terrible apartments. He'd knock them down and make the rich people new good apartments for them. He would. Superman was created this way. It's not like they're just making a right turn.
A champion for the people.
Champion for the people. They're taking bits and they're taking bits and pieces from different eras of Superman. And so why can't they take from that as well? Juan, you were going to say.
No, that's one thing. I think the big distinction from the Snyder film, or at least from Man of Steel, is this time we see Superman saving a lot of people. We don't see him just having to beat the crap out of Zod as he did in the Snyder film. Or Ultraman. I mean, and that was something that was communicated in the trailers when he's saving that little girl and when he's saving that poor woman trying to get out. And also it's very good that in both films, Fantastic Four and this one, people listen to evacuation orders and get out of Dodge.
And that's the difference between Man of Steel and this. Man of Steel, he's fighting Zod. There are people in these apartments that are dying. We get the evacuation order. We had an evacuation order when Doomsday was there in the 90s. We'd had evacuation orders. And yes, then you can destroy Metropolis. Really, evacuate, folks. If you're ever in a situation where they tell you to evacuate.
Even though I remember there was an episode of Barney Miller where Barney had to explain to Wojo they could not evacuate Manhattan Island in a hurry if they had to.
Well, they seem to be able to get him out of Metropolis. I think there are some more bridges and tunnels than there are in New York. Possibly.
Well, it's interesting that you didn't like the Schneider ones. I am not a huge fan of that whole time period of DC. I enjoyed the movies. I got something out of it, all of them. I definitely could identify with different areas. I didn't agree with every choice. I will tell you that Cavill was an amazing Superman. He had the presence. He had the ability.
It's Cavill.
Sorry, thank you.
Sorry, if you want to fix that in post.
I pronounce people's names wrong all the time. Look at my last name.
Jakubowski.
Exactly.
There you go.
And I very much enjoyed him as Superman, even with the darkness, even with the negativity that really was predominant in that period. I don't know if there is a Superman movie I have disliked completely since we'll go back to the TV shows too. I have gotten something, and I don't know if it's just the way that I do things and I view things, and I try to find something I like. There are very few movies I absolutely hate. There are some that I will watch again.
Name one.
That I hate.
Yeah.
Oh, don't waste time.
I'm wasting time.
Don't do that to me.
All right, I won't do it. I won't do it.
Lucy. I absolutely hated the Scarlett Johansson movie, Lucy.
Okay.
So many things. I won't even go into it now.
That's all right. Just wanted to put you on the spot. Go ahead.
But I enjoyed this movie too. I love the way, even Gunn used the original Superman theme from 1978. And I love the way that the composer used it and weaved it into things. So you would hear it and it's almost like subconsciously, oh, Superman's going to be okay. It's amazing how a sound or a smell can evoke an emotion. And, of course, going back to 1978, that was a few years ago. But I love the way they pulled from different eras of movies and comics and the animated series. And I truly enjoyed the 5 million Easter eggs because it was well done. They were in there. There was a purpose. You felt it. And then as you learn things, and now, of course, I've started to watch things to get other people's take. This is probably, he's my second favorite Superman, and I think that this is my second favorite Superman movie. 1978 and Christopher Reeves is the only one I put above it.
How about the Donner cut of Superman 2?
Well, that's pretty damn good too, but
Yeah,
that starts getting into semantics about which version of the movie, and I like both versions of the movies for different reasons. But I just, this was very well done, and I cannot wait to see what they're going to do next with both this character, the other characters, and the Justice League as a whole, because I feel that James Gunn knows how to temper the serious with the funny, get a point across without always hitting you over the head with the sledgehammer. Although I don't always have a big problem with some of the sledgehammers. And his casting choices, nicely done. As I heard people being announced for it, either I didn't know who they were, was like, oh, that's an interesting choice. Then you watch the movie and it's like, yes, 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 and you just kind of go through and it's like, excellent choices.
And, I wasn't looking forward to the Lanterns TV series, but I am now.
Yes.
Nathan, how do you go wrong with Nathan Fillion as Guy Gardner? You can't.
He embraced the assholiousness that is this character. I very much appreciated that. And I was not as familiar with this version of the Green Lantern, but it felt perfect.
It did. So, I enjoyed this a lot. I
can't
really
wait
did.
to see what other characters they bring us, and I want to see them, and I want to experience them, and I want them now.
And Juan, I need to watch Creature Commandos.
Yes.
Well, I haven't had time to catch up with that one. I mean, and actually, it's kind of it's an indirect sequel to Peacemaker, which at its time of recording is right now in its second episode for its second season.
Yes.
And this, I only got, like I said, I only watched the first 15 minutes of it because I didn't have a chance. Sex and nudity and violence. It's just like Peacemaker. It's just like Peacemaker. It's just,
Peacemaker
but the cartoon
is not for the faint of heart.
No.
And the youngins.
Not for the but
my
Superman is for the
recommendation is that
Superman
you watch it with your significant other after you put them to bed.
Yeah, but I think Superman is an all ages thing.
Yes, it is. I would agree.
Superman should be. And again, I don't think the Man of Steel should have been an all ages. It didn't feel all ages.
It was a dark story. It was very a very dark story.
No, I mean, look,
and you can have dark stories not in Superman.
The thing about it is that I had this discussion. I actually wrote a letter to Radio Free Skaro because they felt that the certain problems with the last season of Doctor Who was due to the fact that maybe Russell was too close to it, or he couldn't control his fanish impulses. But I said, hey guys, you either got somebody, if you get the wrong person, you're going to have a situation like J.J. Abrams wasn't really into Star Trek. He was more into Star Wars, and it showed when he did Star Trek. And the same thing with Snyder and Superman. I think Snyder, I don't think, was a Superman kind of guy, yet they kind of shoehorned him in for reasons. So I think you have to have an appreciation, but also have a writer's sense of how far you can go into the story, or how far can you indulge in the Easter eggs, for lack of a better expression of that idea.
Fan service. There's a lot of fan service.
It is a tough balance to be able to both please fans and newbies and still do a good film. So I applaud everyone who tries, and I think this one actually did it.
Succeeded. It did.
So that's my last word on it.
All right, and speaking of last words, that's all the time we have for here on Subspace Radio here on Mark Who 42. My name is Mark Baumgarten. Vicky Jakubowski and Juan Sanmiguel are on here as well. We will be back in 2 weeks. Next week, if you watch Subspace Radio, or you watch Subspace Radio, if you listen to Subspace Radio, there will be TARDIS Travel Guide, which I am a part of, along with Jerry Cooper and Zion Kuros. Where was he today, by the way? And we talk Doctor Who. But until next time, say bye, everyone.
Bye.
You've been listening to Mark Who 42. your hosts, Mark Baumgarten, Vicky Jakubowski, Juan Sanmiguel, and Zion Kiros. Mark Who 42's Universe is produced and directed by Mark Baumgarten. Copyright 2025.